Hello, my name is Shadley, and welcome to a brand new series of Victoria 3. Today we're going to be playing as Japan, or the Japanese Shogunate, to be more precise. And the goal for this series is, let's actually go through the politics, because that's going to be the easiest way to explain. So, the power structure, the top three things we're not going to be changing, at least, well, we might technically be able to allow to go, or let's say that we're allowed to go to the ethno state. But we're not going to go to that one because it's just going to be a bit too restrictive in terms of what cultures can and cannot be accepted. But we're not going to go into like multiculturalism or anything like that. We're going to stay as autocracy and a monarchy. So basically, we're going to keep the shogunate alive as long as we can. The other four we are allowed to change. And the economy laws and human rights laws we are allowed to change. Especially serfdom is something that we're going to try to get rid of, but it's going to be rather difficult to do that, since the landowners are currently 50% in power, and since we're going to hold on to the autocracy and, well, mostly the monarchy, I suppose, it's going to be giving them a lot of power. Eventually we'll hopefully get the taxation laws and that sort of stuff a little bit better, but yeah, our goal is to stay as shogunate. But yeah, let's get started with the things. So if we have a look at the money situation, we've got okay income. We already got 2 construction sectors as well, which is going to be quite nice. We could increase some of the wages over here, but I don't know if that's going to be really that big of a boost for us right now. But we're going to put in some consumption taxes. Let's put in the service tax for sure, then probably liquor, tobacco and tea. I think those taxes will give us a pretty good amount of extra cash. We could even lower the taxes, actually, right now to increase our legitimacy a little bit. Although, well, we got a pretty good, well, about 1.5 million pounds in reserves right now, so it's not really that much. I think, do we have a construction sector in our capital? We do. I think, what about over here? Because this one's got a lot of coal. Oh, of course, we don't need coal yet. Actually, where's the... Was it over here that had a lot of... Yeah, there's 60 iron mines here, plus some lead mines here. So we'll put in a construction sector to be built there. And then one thing that we are going to have a big problem with this run is, since we start with a pretty high population, taxation efficiency is fairly low in pretty much everywhere. Like, even our capital is 68.4% or negative, so... yeah, we could get a lot more taxes in here if we were to just increase the taxation capacity. So government administration buildings are going to be some that we'll need to build a lot. But first of all, increase the construction speed a little bit. And I suppose we could put in some logging camp there as well, just to speed up things a little bit. I don't think... Do we have any tool production yet? Not yet, so that's probably something that we should build up soon. We got a little bit industry, at least at the beginning. And I suppose Kansai, our capital, is going to be our primary production for a lot of the things, not necessarily for everything. Let's put in some decrees as well. So we'll put in the manufacturing definitely in our capital. I guess we'll put a resource industry over here in Tohoku. And I believe Shikoku is going to be good for, like, Shikoku is actually the only state with a modifier, which is extra shipyard building throughput. So we'll probably want to build some, especially the military ships from here. We already got a shipyard over here in Kyushu though, which is producing only clippers right now. But now it's got to be at least some military building there. There's a bit of industry in Shikoku as well, and Shubu has also a lot of industry. So actually, if we have a look at... So these are furniture and paper, so that's got to be using a lot of wood there. And this is textiles and paper, and then tools, and more paper and glass. Okay, so we've got paper in a lot of places. And actually Kyushu does have a relatively large selection of things, so we'll put in a manufacturing industry over there as well to boost that one. And then I suppose Kanto could probably get another resource industry, or we could leave the rest of the authority right now to be used elsewhere. Then in research, I'm going to go for the colonization. I'm going to try to pass the colonization laws to colonize the northern Hokkaido and then maybe take Sakhalin as well. Because those would be pretty good things to get, and then we can maybe start colonizing a little bit of the Micronesia and all that. And maybe we'll get a little bit over here. I don't know if we'll be able to do or take much of, say, Australia, for example. But Indonesia, we could probably get something in there. Although, it does require the malaria prevention to be effective, so we'll probably won't be focusing too heavily in there. I think in terms of the overarching goals for this, other than keeping Shogunate alive, is probably take out at least Korea, Manchuria, and then maybe more, Formosa, of course, as well. And then we might do a bit of conquering in, like, Indonesia and all that sort of stuff. So basically, we're kind of aiming for the borders that the Imperial Japan had during the height of its power during World War II. But we'll see how it goes. Let's, I suppose, unpause already. So there's insufficient taxation capacity pretty much everywhere. We're losing rank. Oh, we can support more interest. I'm hoping that we can support the extra interest soon enough as well. Oh, after these. Korea is going to be difficult to do a landing in. So what I could probably do is put in my interest in Indonesia. Because we don't have a fleet yet. So that's going to make life a little bit difficult. Oh, Korea is actually improving relations right now. So cotton gene, mandatory service, and colonization are spreading. Oh, so that means the colonization is spreading. Well, the tech spread is actually quite small. Admittedly, we don't have a lot of literary rate right now. It's 21.4%, so I guess it could be worse. But yeah, we got pretty good income. We are going to be, of course, increasing the construction costs and other things as well. I suppose another thing that we could do is... where is an area? This one's got a lot of farming available. Our capital has even more farming available, to be fair. We might want to get a bit of cotton plantations going, just for a little bit of extra fabric, because I'm pretty sure that we'll need that a lot in the construction. And we got the construction sector already done, so that's, you know, slowly coming along. It's not very quick, mind you. But that should speed up things at least a little bit. We got still pretty good amount of money, so I'm going to drop the taxes for now. Probably go all the way down. So we'll lose a little bit of cash, but we can get the loyalist numbers even higher, plus the legitimacy is now relatively high. Is there any laws that we could actually try passing? There is the professional army, something that we might want to try to pass. Shogunate would not like that, though. But the samurais would absolutely love that. Petite bourgeoisie and peasants would also like that. So we'll try to pass it. At least the Shogunate will not hate it. It does love our influence, but the influence isn't going to be that much needed. Now, of course, what we could do is we could also try getting some people into our trade network. But of course, we all trade markets, but right now we are isolationists, so we can't do that. So, you know, maybe we can improve relations with Korea for the time being. And maybe even Jing, if we improve relations with them to make sure that they don't cause any troubles for us in the short run. And there we go, we're getting a massive amount of loyalists with the lower taxes. We do still have a lot of authority. We could put in even more consumption taxes. Luxury clothing is something that we'll be producing a lot, and porcelain is another thing that we're producing a lot. Let's go ahead and put in the last points on bolstering the samurais. That seems like a shogunate thing to do, keeping them strong in power. Now, we can always get even more legitimate government, but right now, if we're trying to pass the law of professional army, then it's probably best to keep it somewhat in check. There we go, we got our wood production increased now, so we do need a bit more fruits, meat. Well, we don't have any tools yet to increase the meat production other than building more livestock ranches. Speaking of which, I suppose there's... well, we could have some plantations in here as well. But I suppose we don't have an area that we are designating as a farm area. I mean, I suppose Chubu might be that then. Get the farming boost in there, because that can have a lot, and it's not our capital. That's probably the biggest one that we can have in terms of farmlands right now, other than the capital. Yes, it is. Right, so we could maybe build another livestock ranch there. Increase the fabric and meat production as well, so it's not usually too bad. But first we want to get a tooling workshop, because that's going to unlock so much more production, especially for the wood production. I think that is something that we'll need to increase a lot. And then, hopefully, soon enough, well, I suppose it's going to take a while before we unlock the construction upgrade. It's the modern sewerage. Is it? No, actually, no. That's the steel frame buildings. Oh, we've already unlocked the iron frame buildings. Okay. Never mind. No price changes in our market. Oh, there we go. Now we're making a bit of money again. We could have a gold reserve of up to 3.25 million. So, you know, it's slowly improving. Of course, our GDP is only like 16 million right now, which is actually a pretty respectable starting amount. It's actually the 10th largest in the world. But of course there's going to be others that will expand a lot faster. But now that we get more and more loyalists, that will... Okay, so industrialists and petty bourgeoisie are already improving their approval rating. Oh, well, their approval is increased by that. Public address goes outright. Okay, we'll just stop doing that then. We could, of course, try switching to some other group to be in power. Like, if we reform the government, and we just put in the Shogun in power, that's going to be 100% legitimacy, so the loyalist numbers, well, we drop a little bit there from the samurais, but not being in power right now. However, the loyalist number should be going up very, very rapidly at this stage. And the more loyalists we have, the better approval rating we have from everyone. So if we can keep the loyalist numbers pretty much at all times higher than the radicals, then we should be okay in keeping the shogunate alive. We have a bit of a lack of services right now. I don't suppose that there's much I can do about... Well, there's a little bit. Do we have a lot of class? We got some class. So if we start using that, especially in our capital, might not be the worst idea. Get a bit more service produced. The glass price is going to go up though, so that's something that we'll need to improve. Is there actually any production methods that we can do over there? Not really. We could always build more, of course. We don't have a class producing in there. We do have one class works in Kyushu, and we got the boost already in here, right? Yeah, we do. So we might want to improve that. It's going to give us a bit of porcelain and wood, and use a bit more dye, so the dye plantations are a bit more profitable. Wood price is going to go up. But of course, first of all, we need to get the tooling workshop. Let's go to speed 5, because right now there's not too much going on yet. But there will, of course, be later on. But right now, well, it's just the first year still, so it's not too bad. Credit where credit's due. And recent investment in Kyushu production at our textile mill has raised the question, who should get the credit for this boost in production? Industrialists, the workers, or focus on someone else? I suppose we'll credit the industrialists. If we can get those from the marginalized pops back into something more usable. Oh, there's a lot of support for the dedicated police force. Okay. Oh, the Buddhist monks are now another creator or influential. Okay, so Shogunate would not like the dedicated police force, but there is a lot of support for it. And a lot of those support groups would actually start liking us a lot more, so we'll try to pass that. It would reduce the Shogunate's power a little bit, but I think we'll try to pass it. Little by little, we can get some others to have some power as well. Might be okay, but still we're going to try to keep the landowners in charge as long as possible. Right, so I guess the fruit price, well, it's actually dropping, so is the meat price. Oh, there we go, we've got the tooling workshop now, so let's go ahead. Was it over here that we had? Yeah, I believe this is the place with the boost for the production. So how much can it produce, actually? It should be able to produce up to 30. Right now it's not producing that many, but it just started. So if we put in the sawmills over here, that's going to be using 26. So that's basically the entire factory being used already. But that's also going to increase our wood production a decent bit. So I think it'll be quite fine in the long run. And we already got a 1 million loyalists, so that number is going up quite rapidly there, which is definitely nice. I'm about to get the colonization. I don't know if we have support for the colonization law quite yet. Like, the samurais would endorse that, but that's about the only group, and the samurais have lost a little bit of their power, although we are bolstering them. Oh, there we go, dedicated police force passed. Good, so Shogunate's power is now 44%, and the samurais hopefully get a bit more. The samurais really do like us though, so that's definitely beneficial for us. And once we pass the law, or we get the tech, we should be able to... Well, I don't know if we'll be able to pass it immediately, but at least we'll have some support for it from the groups not in power. Well, let's get academia unlocked, so we can get a bit of more innovation going. I think increasing the innovation to its cap as soon as possible, and trying to keep it at the cap will give us a lot more chance on getting all the techs. Admittedly, we do start with the censorship, so that reduces tech spread by 10%, and what's the... Isolation is another 15% reduction, and I think there might be something else that is also reducing it, but yeah, it's not the best of situation. So we might not be all that great in terms of techs overall, but we'll see what we can do. There we go, the cotton plantation is almost done, so what do we need? We need a lot more meat, actually. So let's go ahead and take The livestock ranch is over here, but butchering tools, so we can reduce the meat price at least a little bit. Then I suppose another thing that we should do is get some iron mines in here, at least one, so that we can start using the pig iron tools in here, which is going to double the production of tools in there. So less increase in the size of the building perhaps, but we'll get a lot more increase in production of other things with the same speed, because our construction speed isn't all that massive yet. Admittedly, we could okay, we got a construction sector already in there, we got one over there. Kyushu does not have one yet, so we'll get one over there. Not gonna put it to the top of the list necessarily, although I suppose it would speed up things a little bit in the long run, so we'll do that. But one thing that we're not gonna have in for a long while at least is an investment pool, I reckon. We'll see how we can survive without it. The whaling industry, level is greater than 3, has the role of admiral, is not busy, is not ruler. Okay, so we need to get some ships, I guess. And where do we have whaling? We've got some over here, so if we get that one up, and I suppose we could get a bit of ships in here as well. At least one. We'll start with one, and we're gonna get the admiral, and then we're gonna increase that later on. So we do have an institution over here in the law enforcement. We could probably increase that to level 2 already, although the cost is going to be quite large, so what we will probably need to do is start getting more government administration. Admittedly, it is going to increase our taxation a decent bit, so we'll see how that goes, all things considered. Like, I think, even though, well, it depends on probably mostly on the price for the stuff, but like, we currently have 38,000 unrealized taxes. Of course, that is mostly because we have very low taxes. If we were on the normal taxes, that would probably be a lot larger, probably double the taxes that we are missing on right now. But yeah, there's a lot of areas that need a lot of boost in there. Shikoku is actually... Hold on, is Shikoku... No, that's Ryukyu Island. So Ryukyu Island doesn't have any problems with taxation. And Shikoku is one that doesn't have a lot of problems with taxation. But it could have a little bit boost in there. I suppose... Ooh, actually, have we unlocked any of the paper mill upgrades yet? No, we have not. Sulfide pulping requires mechanical tools, and that's something that we don't have yet. But I suppose, slowly but surely, things are improving. Oh, and bureaucracy shortfall is gonna... Well, we are gonna be building a few more things. So I don't think it's gonna be the worst thing. We're still gonna take half a year for the glassworks. But we did get the extra fabric production at least, so how's the... Oh, and I suppose the meat production is something that will be increasing soon enough. How's the tool situation? We are lacking one tool right now. I suppose we could increase the... Well, we've got 3 livestock ranches in here. I'm going to put in a bit more butchering tools there, just to lower the meat price. Of course, if we have a look at the biggest price is services, clothing and wood. At least those are the... Actually, that might be just the ones that we need the most. Not necessarily. Well, clothing, services, and wood. Actually, yeah, that is the ones that we need the most, and then that is the stuff that we have the most. So grain, liquor, and tea. Yeah, fair enough. Right, but the price for opium is very high. The tool price is already starting to be quite high as well. So we'll wait on that until we get the iron mine, and we can start using those to get more tools ongoing. Oh, dye works accident. Several workers died today at Kyushu Dye Works. I don't necessarily want to strengthen the trade unions in this run. Although, you know, it could be fun, but we all die sooner or later. The puns hurt a little bit, but oh well. But yeah, we've got pretty good legitimacy, so we could actually now increase the taxation just a little bit. That does mean a bit more radicals, admittedly, if the standard of living lowers, but I'm sure that those will actually slowly drop again. We'll just make sure to have a pretty decent amount of money, although we're currently at 50% of our pool. I think after that, the inflation starts hurting quite a bit, so let's actually... I suppose what we could afford doing is increase our construction speed a little bit further. So we've got one already in there. Do we have any on Shikoku? We do not, so we'll put in another construction sector there. Just have a little bit of construction sectors everywhere, so the construction speed on the place is going to be increased regardless. And we got a decent bit of income right now, so we can definitely afford building some of that. There we go, we got the class work upgraded as well, so the class price is going to drop at least a little bit. We are getting the iron mine, then there's going to be the whaling naval base and more government administration. So all things pretty decent. And there we go, law enforcement at level 2 now. So, well, I don't suppose we have a lot of turmoil right now, do we? No, we don't. I mean, we don't have a lot of radicals, to be fair, so that makes quite a difference. Ooh, there's a serfdom abolished thing. Oh, and the Days of Darkness, let's see. Eruption of unprecedented recalls has utterly destroyed the lives of many Dutch East Indies in the state of West Java. The explosion of the Krakatoa could be heard from hundreds of miles away, and anything that had the ill fate of surrounding the island was immediately devastated. We could send them, I suppose, yeah, we can spend a little bit of our money to help them. It gives a bit of better... Ooh. Nicer ways. Waves taller than chimneys have ravaged the state of Kansai, a terrible consequence of the volcanic eruption. Oh, right, so we get 10% devastation in pretty much all of this area. Well, that's unfortunate. I suppose we'll survive. Right, so serfdom abolished. There is a support for it, but of course that would anger the Shogunate quite a bit. As well as the samurais. At the same time, that would unlock a lot of the other laws, which wouldn't be the worst thing. Plus, it would get rid of the serfdom. But how about like the samurais would be pretty angry, the Shogunate would be pretty angry, but I suppose we'll try passing that. I don't know if we will manage to pass it, but we've got 20% chance and the speed of things is fairly quick. So I think it's possible. At least I hope it's going to be possible. Of course, the less power the Shogunate has, the more problems that we'll have ourselves, but we'll see. Right, so we're still getting a lot... Oh, burning ashes. The drop of temperature caused by the volcanic eruption has ruined the crops of all the nation, and the farmers in Ryukyu Islands beg for help. We can send them some food. That's going to cost us a little bit, but we've got a pretty decent treasury still, so I'm not too worried about that. And we're about to get the iron mines, so we can start using those for the... Oh, I suppose they do need some tools for themselves as well over there, don't they? Yeah, they do. Nothing massive, mind you. A little bit, but let's go ahead and put in some pick iron tools going, so that is going to start increasing the... Well, the iron price is pretty massive right now. We should be producing at least some. We've got 58 tools already being produced. Purchasing emancipation. The Shogunate refused to give up their serfs without adequate compensation. Their significant political influence makes this a difficult demand to refuse. So 15% bureaucracy, or minus 15% bureaucracy, which would be actually quite a bit. Or the serfs not purchase their own emancipation. Minus 2 standard of living for the lowest strata. 10% enactment success chance and 100% radicals from standard of living decreases. Or you cannot own a human being. I suppose we'll take the bureaucracy cost. We'll lose a bit of taxes. We're going to be increasing taxation at some point, but if we can get this passed soon, we'll be fine. Also, I suppose now that we've got the iron mine in there, what else do we need? Well, we need more iron, but that is going to start getting some speed. We need more fruits, actually. Do we have, for example, the rice plantations in here? Some of them could be producing some big orchards. Actually, that one's already got one. Is that... That doesn't. So get more fruits, a bit more sugar. Ooh, actually, speaking of sugar, we should probably get a food manufactory somewhere. We'll put that in our capital. So food industry underway there. Oh, and psychological warfare. An affair between Yozotori and Tsukiyuki Ito's spouse has reached our ears, threatening to affect his public image if we do not destitute the general. I suppose we cannot trust a man like this. Right, so we are down to 2 generals right now, aren't we? Yes we are. Now, admittedly, we can probably go on with just 2 generals for now. Just to save a little bit of... Oh, gold, just color Hokkaido. Hello. Right, so that's going to be a bit of minting. A bit of extra income. And academia has been completed. Excellent. At this stage, I mean, currency standard would be allowing us to... If we can get rid of the serfdom and all that, we can hopefully put in the per capita taxation at some point. But let's have a look at the military. The mandatory service would be quite nice. It would unlock the line infantry, or unlock for research the line infantry. Well, let's get the quadrangine down first, and then later. So if we can increase our productions a bit sooner rather than later, that would probably be a very smart thing to do. Once we get the... Ooh, actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build a new shipyard over here, and this shipyard is going to be producing our military ships for the most part. So is there... yeah, there's 47,000 unrealized taxes right now. Partially because of the lack of bureaucracy. Bureaucratic imbroglio. Well, speak of the bureaucracy. We're going to either spend yet another 5% bureaucracy for the enactment time, and bureaucratic pops and Kansai become more radical. Yeah, we'll cut through the red tape at least a little bit. Right, so government administration, food industry, shipyards, so all of that is going to take a while. We're losing quite a bit of money right now. Suppose we can still always increase our taxes if need be to cut some of that. And as soon as we pass the or abolish the serfdom, then some of the negative effects are going to expire. Hey, cotton gin unlocked. There we go. I think we're going to go for the lathe immediately. So cotton gin just for the cotton plantations. But the lathe is going to unlock the dye workshop for the textile mills. Lathe for the furniture manufactory, and lead glass for the glassworks. So we need to get a lead mine, but we can build a lot of lead mines, admittedly. Did we actually... Yeah, even in here, we can build a lead mine. Now, how's the iron mine doing? Tool price is actually fairly low right now. Is there anything that we could use the tools for? Well, the textile mill, I suppose, is... Well, the sewing machine's going to use a little bit, but we're not there yet. The paper mill, I don't suppose that's... No, unless it's going to be using sulfur later on. What else is there? I mean, the shipyards do not use any tools. At least not yet. I guess there's not really that many other than maybe more meat production. Thinking, which do we have? No, we don't have any in there. We've got a livestock ranch over here. We could go for the butchering tools, I suppose. Produce a little bit more meat. Reduce the price. I mean, let's actually take a quick look at the population. So, lower strata. They're not actually paying that much. Grain is the biggest thing that they use money on, but the grain price is actually quite small. Furniture is another thing that they would probably have to spend some more money on. So let's go ahead and I suppose we'll be able to expand the furniture production very shortly. Quite a bit. So we can maybe save... Oh, there we go. Serfdom abolished. And now the bureaucracy problem is a lot less. Now, is there any other laws that we could pass in here? Not really. Let's reform the government. Let's bring in the Buddhist monks in here, or the clergy in here. So we'll still have 100% legitimacy, and at least we have someone in here that might support some laws. For example, the religious schools. I suppose that's actually not a bad idea. 17% chance. That is going to be another thing using... oh, right, and now we've got a little bit more to the unrealized taxes actually brought in, so that's a really good thing for us. So I've only got one gold field there right now. We haven't got anything supporting colonization. Defensive path from Korea. Sure. We'll take that for now. Maybe we can make them a vassal at some point. Or sort of bring them as a protector. But of course, I think they actually start with... No, they don't have a higher GDP than I do. But they're part of the Qing market. No, there we go. The Shogunate is now paying for the taxes again. A law proposal causes uproar in Micronesian communities. Claiming that the enactment of religious schools would affect the country's Micronesian inhabitants in disproportionately negative way, Micronesian firebrands have riled the communities against the current law proposal. Okay, we can take another minus 5% bureaucracy for 5 years. And Micronesian pops in Kyushu. I don't think we have a lot of Micronesian pops though, so I'm not really too worried about that. I will take the 10% boost in there for passing the law. So now we've got 1 in 4 chance of passing it. And samurais are very angry with us right now, I suppose, mostly because of the serfdom abolition and all that. We probably need to bring in a little bit more construction going. Let's see, opium manor wars. Okay, so manor wars is going to be produced here. That's going to be the next war, or next building after the food industries. But is there any resources that we need badly? I mean, I suppose wood would be quite nice. Let's actually start increasing the sawmills in some of these places, which of course then needs more tools. So let's actually increase the tooling workshop, which then probably needs a bit more iron mines and all that. But little by little, we can increase all of these things. Like right now, the increase in our GDP isn't very high. We'll get that increase soon enough. However, I do realize we are actually out of time for this episode. So if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also got the links down below in the description. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.